check everything. I think that one's mine. Yeah. Bear with. I'm just gonna send a message out to the entire server. Okay. Yes, there we go. Let me just get all the streams up and running, and then I can start. So there's Pyro. His stream. Keep an eye out on that and see how quality goes there as well. Let's get my stream up so I can see any comments. Okay. Welcome, guys. This is round 6 of our eSports League, and an important one. It's our final round, the split prediction. Okay, split prediction, I think maybe 50.5. I think people will need to get. You see Fluffy Butt is back, and Hollywood are miles ahead of everyone else in this lobby. I think lobby A is going to be pretty quick as well. But yeah, this is round 6, our last round before we say goodbye to 3 teams, and we just carry on with the top 5. Final 3 rounds, longer 1.5 race distance. Me and Pyro will be co-commentating the final 2 rounds of the season to see what ends up happening. But what I'm more interested in is the battle for the top 5. So we know who's through. We know Project Platypus, Falcon, and Arix are definitely through tonight. What we don't know is who's going to join them. We've got Aero GT, who are going to be qualifying in the other lobby. They're in 4th place, qualified last year. They've got a 30-odd point lead, so it's almost assured that they'll go through. And then we've got Pegasus with just a 5-point lead over Cav R. Cav R been getting the better of them in qualifying, getting into lobby A a lot more often than Pegasus this season. Had some DNFs though, which has really affected where they are in the standings. They would be comfortably in the top 5 without those DNFs. So if they could continue what they've been doing and getting the cars into lobby A for the race, I think they'll be able to overtake Pegasus. So we've got the usual 3 for Cav. We've got Hollywood, we've got Fluffy Butt, and we've got Latari, who's on your screen right there. Seem to all be setting some really solid laps. Let's see what Latari does. He set... Oh, that was an outlap, never mind. And then for Pegasus, we've got Max back, who had a really good race from the back last week. We've got Lucian, who is new, so I don't know what his pace is like. So we had one of those drivers spinning, I think it was Parky Barky, their 3rd driver. Did one race in Lobby B at Blue Moon. That was his only appearance so far at eSports. So yeah, looking for some real improvements for Pegasus. They usually get 1 driver in Lobby A, never have they had more than a single driver in Lobby A all season. But that would be the way to rescue their season and get into the top 5 for the first time. They narrowly missed out last season. They were P6, whereas Cav were all the way at the back of the leaderboard last season, and they've improved massively, all driving in the M6s. This time around, so yeah, I've said split prediction of a 50.5. Auto's on a 51. It's got about half a second to find in that Alfa Romeo. I think it'll be a good car around here, the Alfa, really good on its tyres. And this is a very high tyre wear track. We're going to see multiple pit stops this time around because we've got a very short pit lane as well. We're only on 2 times tyre wear, but it's still going to be quite high comparatively, especially with the length of time that we're racing for. I think it's 38 laps. So let's go back and see. We've got 2 minutes to go. We've got 11 drivers in. We only have 2 for Project Racing United, so that is hands V2 a little bit of an advantage in their little battle for avoiding 8th place, the battle for P7. Yeah, and that guy left the room, so that's fine. So I'll give a little starting soon, and we can start bang on 8 o'clock here. Alright, Colin, nice to see you. Just quickly, in Lobby A is going to be quite an exciting one. We've got Aura, the FGR driver, is back, and he's racing for Arex for the rest of this season. And he's racing in the Ford GT tonight, which is, I would have assumed, is a bad car around here. Aura's incredibly quick, potentially the quickest guy on the grid tonight. Still didn't win a race last season at all, so he'll be trying to do a little bit better. I think maybe next week at Monza he might be a little bit more favoured for that one. As for who we might see in Lobby B, we've got Pasty. He's never been in Lobby A. Hurricane, Primecall, who won Lobby B last week so convincingly, he'll be trying to stick into Lobby A as well. And then everyone else, I think, is a safe bet for Lobby A. So I think that is it. I think we might as well get qualifying underway. Hello, Kauka. Nice to see you. Why aren't you racing? Alright, let's see who's going to be quickest out of... Oh, wow, Lukian is an A+ driver, so he should be pretty good. Turbo Tony's A+ as well. Interesting. Maybe he'll pull out an A+ performance tonight and seal that P7. Let's see who's going to be first out of the pits. It looks like it is... It's one of the Pegasus boys. Maybe it's Max. Yeah, it looks like it's Max out. He's able to do qualifying. He had to serve his team's qualifying ban that they got because they amassed 5 penalty points after round 4. He was the sacrificial lamb, and this time in the GTR he is going to be the first person to be setting lap times on this potentially final race of the season for Pegasus. Shoulder injury, that's rough. Well, I hope you get better soon. See you back on track next season. So, just a bit of information about this track. Like I said, it's a very short pit lane. It is very high tyre wear compared to a lot of tracks. Really seems to suit MR cars. So we've got some Renaults out here that might, and we might see the odd Lamborghini as well, doing pretty well around some of these ones. I think the Alpha's also an MR car. So Autoration might get a decent lap out of here. Like I said, we're looking for laps in the 50s to be thinking about Lobby A for the race. You need to be getting in the top 14 out of how many drivers? 24 drivers. We'll be back up to 30 next season, I'm pretty sure. We just got a team confirmed today, which I'm pretty pleased with. So let's ride on board with Max. Very, very important qualifying session for Pegasus. The most important one of the season. Round 6 last season they had Hizal make an appearance. Unfortunately they can't rely on that this time round. Let's see what Max can do. So on the start of this hot lap, really difficult approach into turn 1. Look how cambered it is. Bit of a wide entry to hit the apex. Doesn't quite kiss the apex, gets a fairly decent exit though. Now we've got a long run up the hill. He's got quite a bit of distance to the cars behind him as well, so he can just focus on his hot lap. Heavy braking, a little bit deep into that corner, managed to swing it back in though, which will have helped him get a better exit. Looked a little bit wobbly on the exit. Now we've got a really important corner to take a lot of speed through here, which is going to shred the tyres in the race. One of those corners. Another couple are coming up fairly soon as well. Bit of a hairpin here, but you can take it in 3rd gear and take a lot of speed through it if you're brave. That's a good place to gain a lot of time, especially when you're on fresh tyres in the race. Now this is another corner that really takes out your tyres, really long left-hander, and then this right-hander which is coming up as well. You actually don't really need to brake for this corner. Look at the steering inputs, he is lifting, he's not braking at all, getting a nice line through there, kissing the apex on corner exit. Now a very, very tight hairpin here. You have to sweep around that corner, straighten the car up enough, and he goes a little bit deep once again. Doesn't brake at all for the uphill corner, which you can't, I think when you're on more worn tyres you have to. There's Otto with the wall. Otto's laps over. He's potentially, well I know he'll have got out of the way for the cars behind him. There was no one directly behind him there. Now, last couple of corners for Max, really tight, couple of S's here. And what we're going to see here, is it going to be in the 50s? That's what we're ideally looking for. It is a 51.4 solid banker, but it is not going to be challenging Lobby A, I don't think. Latari with a 50.4, huge lap for him. Fluffy Butt is crossing the line and he goes 4/10 off of his teammate. He is slotted up into P2. Turbo Tony, really good lap there into P3 with Log Chicken in 5th. Now we've got Hollywood just crossing the line to get provisional pole position as his teammate goes completely off the track trying to avoid him. That was some sloppy work there, Cav boys. So near the back we've got our new boy Lukian about to finish his first lap. Let's see what this is going to look like. He's up into 4th. It is a low 51, so again a solid banker, faster than everyone but the 3 Caval boys, but Caval really putting a good claim into qualifying for the top 5 here. Great to see them locking out the top 3 as it stands, and we're going to have to see how some of these drivers can match them. So everyone's finished the first lap. Max is currently P6, needs to find a second from somewhere. Let's see if he's on an improvement this lap. Just one more corner before the next split time. And what's it going to be? No, he is quite a way down. We've got the 2 Project Race United boys very close together on track here. Let's see if Log Chicken's going to be improving. He is a 10th up. He's got to find at least a second if he wants another position. Turbo Tony might be a bit frustrated right behind him. And let's see, that was pretty tidy from those boys. I think if I was Turbo, I'd be braking a lot here. Looks like he has started giving Long Chicken a bit of space to complete his lap. Let's see if Long Chicken can improve at all. He's looking for at least a second here. Max in the pits to put on some fresh softs. Look how worn they already are. Long Chicken also in the pits. Let's see what Parky Barky could do. P8 is not good enough at the moment. 4.1 seconds off of pole position time in Lobby B. Mortal set at 51.7 there, still in P8, actually behind his teammate Eroticos with a 51.6. Parky Varky really out of shape in that final corner, avoids the wall, and what's it going to be? It's an improvement by 3/10, but he's in 10th place at the moment. And what about Autoration? He's carried on, he set 2 pretty bad laps, had incidents on both of them, so let's see what he can do. We know he is trying to get to Lobby A for the first time. And what a way to do it on the final race of the season, but he's got 8.1 seconds to find on this lap. We're 6 minutes and 40 seconds into this 10-minute qualifying session. Pole in Lobby A, by the way, at the moment is at 49.4, so a full second quicker than what Hollywood's done, for reference. Otto's keeping it neat and tidy now, but we get into a couple of the tricky parts of the track where I think he took in some extra speed on the previous laps. Otto, Ration and Eroticos pretty close together on track now as well. And it's not showing if he's up or not. Don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's on his outlap, we're just focusing on the complete wrong thing. Let's have a look at Hollywood. Hollywood is our P1. He's only got P1 at 5.065 on Latari. So those 2 would be guaranteed at the moment as the top 2 finishers to be racing in Lobby A. Mortal P8 in the Dodge Viper. I don't think the Dodge is a very good car for around here, to be honest. Pretty solid driving here from Hollywood. Let's see if he can beat his previous time. He's only got a couple of corners left. One really sharp right-hander followed by a really sharp left-hander. And is it going to be in the 49s? It's in the 50s. It is just shy of beating his previous time. Let's see what Latari can respond with. He's just about to cross this sector line, and it doesn't want to show us what it is because he's on an out lap. Fluffy Butt is on a hot lap. He's got half a second to find on his 2 teammates. Can he leapfrog? He's only been in Lobby A this season. And let's see what he can do. It's only a 52, 1.4 seconds down. Okay, let's join with Lukian, A+ driver, first race here. He's only 6/10 off at the moment. A little bit wide. Ooh, that wasn't a good corner, I've got to admit there. Is this the tier 1 lobby? This is eSports, so we have 2 lobbies going on, lobby A and lobby B. This is lobby B. This is qualifying, so it's all equal conditions mode, and the quickest drivers will be in lobby A. As we've got a driver spinning around, seems to be completely out the way. That's Mortal, so his qualifying might be over there. He's not going to be able to get another lap in. And the slowest drivers will compete in lobby B for still for points, but for a lower amount of points. So qualifying hugely important here, which is great news for Kavar. They might actually get all 3 drivers into lobby A at this point. Max improves, he's up to P5 just behind Lukian. Might not be enough, he's got enough time for one more lap. Lukian at 7/10 down. Auto improves massively, so he does get into the top 6. Log Chicken up into 3rd. Maybe we'll see Log Chicken in lobby A for the first time ever. That's a great result so far for Log Chicken. There's only 2 Project Racing United boys left in racing tonight. But yeah, that's a decent shout at being in lobby A. Now let's see. Looks like Hollywood's just finished his lap. Let's see if Latari can beat his time. He's 3/10 down at the moment, actually. So I guess it's all eyes on Fluffy, but he's coming to the last couple of corners now. Here we go. Can Fluffy Butt improve? He's got half a second to find. He does, and it's quickest out of everyone. He leapfrogs both of his teammates and Long Chicken. We're back to a Kavar 1, 2, 3. Great lap for Fluffy Butt, a 50.3. Let's see who else is due to complete a lap. Max is on his final lap. He's got a lot of clear air. He needs to be improving on a P7. He's currently a quarter of a second down on his best time, which was just set on the previous lap, and he's very deep there. That's not going to be an improvement. Let's see who is next up on the list. Just bear with. Got Otto Ration, who's trying to improve on that P6 that he managed on the previous lap, 51.1. So he's almost in the 50s. V2's last race. What can Otto Ration do? He's out-qualifying his teammates pretty well here at the moment. Improved his form in the race in the previous round as well, scoring points. And it looks like it is just not enough. The last person to cross the finish line is going to be Turbo Tony. He's been jostled all the way down to 8th after being 3rd when he set that previous lap, and he's in the wall. It's not going to be an improvement for Turbo. So yeah, his teammate's in 4th and Turbo is in 8th, so solid qualifying, but looks like it's going to be lobby B for Turbo. I think the same for Max, Auto and Lukian, and we'll have to see for the rest of them. Right, let's go into the results so that I can do this pretty quickly, hopefully. So we got a 50.335, pretty quick lap for Hollywood, for Fluffy Butt. 50.429 is Hollywood. They are definitely in lobby A. Latari might join them. We have to wait and see. Long Chicken, really good lap for him. 50.857. And then Lukian for Pegasus, 51.108. So the first in the 51s. Auto, 51.123. Max, 51.29. Turbo Tony, is 51.388. Verosicos 51.685. Mortal, unfortunate for Mortal, he struggled last time he tried qualifying as well, and he recovered in the race, so I'm expecting to see that again. And a 54 for Parky Barky all over the place, it looks like 4 times. Now, just bear with me because it looks like qualifying in lobby A has just finished. We're just waiting for the timer to kick in. So let's just take a quick screenshot of this, actually. You can have a look at the standings while I'm just waiting to see. 49.01 by Alessandro was pole time. Great lap from Alessandro. Aura only P3. Interesting. .622 for Aura. That might be the Ford tax for choosing such a car. Alright, it's gone back to the results screen. So, BX Royal P2 49.117, Zico 49.896, so good qualifying again for Project Platypus P2 and P4. Then we've got Javi only in 5th in qualifying, 49.997. Keplero just behind him, the first in the 50s. Then Beetlejuice 50.097, 096. Perry might be disappointed with a 50.104. Still quicker than Fluffy Butt though. Let's see where the second page is. Okay, there we go. Owen, P9, I forgot Owen was racing. 50.157, he's definitely in Lobby A. Prime Call, 50.658, ooh, that might be on the bubble. 51.281 for Hurricane, and Pasty, 51.75. Right, let's see. So, Long Chicken is in Lobby A, Lucian is on pole in Lobby B. We're going to have Hurricane joining us, and we're going to have Pasty joining us near the back as well. Right, let me just sort this out and send this out to everyone. Prime Call won't be going for 2 Lobby B wins because he's also going to be in Lobby A today. Otto's going to be on the front row, nice to see. He's getting very close. Actually, there's a big gap between P14 and P15. 3/10 of a second. Another pole position for Alessandro. I'm sure that's his second eSports pole position in 6 races. So let me just put this in the chat. Hope everyone's behaving themselves in there. There we go, it's been sent. So everyone have a look and go into your respective lobbies. Let me just end the race. Tire killer, absolutely. And let me edit the event settings as well, because we just need the race and we need custom weather 1 times. And we need set by host as well. And then let me just double check. I always have to check if we're on 6 liters a second, even though I saved my settings. So yeah, that's huge for Cavar. All 3 drivers in Lobby A, as long as they can finish, considering all 3 Pegasus boys are in Lobby B, that should be almost a guaranteed top 5 for them. But we've got a long way to go for that. Eroticos starting P6, Mortal P7, Falcon is going to, Pasty is going to start P8. Parky Barky will be in last, because we aren't only going to have a 9-person race here. Let me just tell everyone to enter, so I can start setting the grid. seeing Aura in the 4GT on Alsace seems uncomfortable. Yeah, I can imagine. Tyres going to go down fast. Yep, so I think I would go for like a 3-stop strategy. Have a bit of fun. Be able to push 100% of the time. Who are we waiting for? Someone... Gosh, let me double check. So we got Lucian. Oh, someone's joining. Okay. Ignore me. Fluffybutt's YouTube name is Fluffybutfast. Well, yeah, you're in lobby A for tonight. Right, let's start the let's set the starting grid. So Lucian is in P1, then we have Otto in P2, then we have to put Hurricane in P3. Hurricane in the Lambo is going to be incredibly quick, I reckon. Then we have Max in 4th place, Turbo Tony in 5th. 6th is going to be Eroticos ahead of Mortal in 7th, Pasty in 8th, and Parky Varky in 9th. Right, happy days. Let me just send a message to the chat that we're going to be starting soon. No need to wait any longer. We do have 38 laps, which is the same as Lobby A, just to make sure. We've got wind on now. It looks like quite a strong wind as well, so I wonder if that's going to catch some people out. Let's have a quick look on the track. Let's see if anyone is going to be starting on anything not the softs. So we got Eroticos on the mediums, softs are Parky Varky, and literally everybody else. So Eroticos going for a bit of a different strategy. Watch out for how he does on those mediums. Maybe it'll be a really short medium stint. We'll have to wait and see. He's in the Renault. Renault has great tyres and loves this track. I think almost every car on the field today should be strong around here, apart from the Viper. The Viper is the odd one out in this grid. So if Mortal actually scores points today, I think he could be pretty proud of himself. Unfortunate V2 couldn't get any drivers in to the top lobby, so it's going to make it difficult with PRU, with them getting a driver into the top lobby to actually beat them. But we'll have to wait and see. Alright, I'm going to start. They've had enough time. Spectate. Let's get this all up and running before the race starts. So, Lucian on pole on his debut. Let's see if he can convert this to a win. Might be a bit slow off the line in the Porsche. Auto's got a great chance of stealing the lead. Here we go, 5 lights on. Round 6 of our eSports season is live, and it looks like a false start from Auto, which is going to be a huge get out of jail free card for Lucian. Hurricane instead is coming up on the inside of him. He's going to try and get P1. And there's contact. Oh, well, actually, they managed to avoid the contact. Lucian getting very far ahead there. Auto still up in 3rd place. He's going to try and take that position back off Hurricane. They've got Turbo Tony, Eroticos, Mortal, Max, and Pasty in the top 8 at the moment. Real tight group here. Fighting for P2. Looks like Auto's going to go deep. He's going to get it slowed down. There's 3 wide into the corner. It looks like Hurricane and Turbo have got that space. Auto shuffled down a couple of positions there. Pasty with a fairly good start. Eroticos on his medium tyres, still sticking in with it in P5. Pasty's going to try a move on the inside of him into this 3rd gear hairpin. Fantastic corner to get right, and Eroticos still in P5 as everyone is super close together. Mortal in there trying to get positions as well. And then you got the 2 Pegasus boys at the back there. So yeah, Pegasus sandwich at the moment. Eroticos still defending from Pasty. Pasty's still not able to get past. Mortal's going to try and put his car on the inside there. Not able to get past at the moment. Pasty keeps that position, and Eroticos does as well. Now we're going into this really difficult hairpin. Is everyone going to be able to get the car slowed down in time? Mortal's been span. Oh dear. And that's a couple of easy positions for Team Pegasus. I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe there was contact, maybe it just lost it on under the braking. Really, really tough corner to get right. Mortal. Bad start, but great start for Eroticos, still in P5. Actually, very close to Eroticos and Turbo Tony here. Lucian completes the first lap in first place with a solid lead. He's got a 1.5 second lead over Hurricane, who himself has a 1.8 lead over Auto. Then we've got this lovely battle here. Erotico's trying to take P4 from Turbo Tony in his Renault. Looks like he's got that move done. Turbo's going to try and get him back up the hill, so it's going to be a drag race here. He's going to slip into Erotico's slipstream. I don't know if that was a bit of a bump draft, actually. If it was very fortunate for Eroticos. He's going to have to go defensive into the hairpin. And Turbo Tony's got a great chance of getting a switch back, especially with Eroticos really screeching his tyres there. Manages to keep the position somehow. Turbo pretty slow on the throttle to take advantage. Then we have Max and Parky and Pasty right behind them as well. So, oh yeah, oh dear, that's sad. That, I think, would be a penalty for Turbo Tony. That was going really well for Eroticos. He got span. He had to take the corner slower on his medium tyres, and Turbo kind of just barged through him there. Promotes Turbo to 4th, Max and Parky up to 5th and 6th now. And Pasty trying really hard to get past Parky, not being able to do anything at the moment. Now we've got Max closing in on Turbo Tony into the hairpin. Both of them completely missing the apex there. And they're going to be side by side on this left-hander, uphill. Really difficult one. Yeah, Max nearly going off track there, just manages to keep it on by bailing out of the throttle. Now Parky feels like he might be able to get both of them. He's going on the outside of Max into the next corner. Contact between the teammates. And here comes Pasty. He's going to say thank you very much for that little bit of yeah, that was not Pegasus's finest moment, as Turbo goes a little bit off track there. Now drag race between Max and Pasty up the hill. Max looks like he's got his nose ahead of Pasty. Pasty's first race of the season. He raced a couple of times last season as well, always in Lobby B. And he's just tucking in behind Max at the moment. Let's see what's going on at the front. So Lucian has 2.2 second lead over Hurricane now. Hurricane's tyres, he's definitely tyre saving compared to Lucian. Look at the difference there. It's more than 50% worn on the front left. Twice as worn on the front left for Lucian. They're not quite at 50% left yet. So that means that Lucian's tyres are going to go off first, potentially needs to make a pit stop before the other two, that's for sure. Auto really doing well, looking after his tyres as well. Turbo, Max's tyres are looking good, Pasty's tyres are looking alright, Parky's not so great at the back of this. Then we have the V2 boys. Oh man, these two should end in the points if nothing unusual happens still, I reckon. Especially Eroticos, he's on the medium tyres, he's still got a big advantage on these guys. But let's keep an eye on Lucian. He's approaching 50% tyre worn on that front left. So whatever strategy or however he's driving, it is really, really brutal on the tyres. More so than all of his rivals. So I think he might be spending most of the race on the mediums. And that really is going to give Hurricane a huge opportunity, and Autoration, to sign off with a win. Because Auto's not going to be competing for the rest of the season because V2 are out after this race. Hurricane will be carrying on for Aero GT by the looks of things. They're doing pretty well tonight with Prime Colin Owen in Lobby A. I think that should be enough, especially with a P2 or potentially a P1 to seal the deal and be P4 heading into the final 2 rounds. Auto doing pretty well to keep him honest though. Both of them have identical tyre wear. Actually, Auto's front right is slightly more worn than Hurricane's. And then there's a huge gap between Auto and Turbo Tony. Turbo's still only 8 tenths ahead of Max, so Max hasn't been able to get past him still. Turbo has regained his composure, starting to gap Max a little bit, and Pasty still in the fight as well. Parky dropping off the back a little bit, and then we've got the two V2 boys. Mortal still is showing himself to be a slight bit quicker than Eroticos on his soft tyres at the moment. So when are we going to start seeing pit stops? surely before the half tank is out, I think, for the soft runners. And they're going to have to put in fuel as well, which is going to make it quite a long pit stop. It's only a short pit stop if you don't need to refuel, but these guys are not starting with a full tank like we do in Monday League. They're starting with half a tank, which means the first pit stop they are going to have to refuel. Also with the fastest lap of 50.4. And Hurricanes really closed the gap now to just 1 second. That is entirely because Lukian's tyres are going off a lot quicker than Hurricane's. That front left is really struggling on the Porsche. And now Hurricane is, for the first time since lap 1, well, he was very briefly less than a second behind Lukian. Hurricane has won around Alsace in Tier 3 in our Monday League last season. Looking pretty smooth at the moment. Autoration, I can't remember if he won last season actually. I think he might have in the Renault around here. So 2 drivers very capable of getting their first eSports wins as well tonight. Actually, I think apart from Mortal, none of these guys have actually won an eSports race yet. So it looks like we're almost guaranteed to have a new winner. It's the final lobby beat of the season. Next week, me and Pyro will be co-commentating the single lobby with all 5 of our highest scoring teams. Let's ride on board with Hurricane, see how he tackles this long right-hander. The cow's nose. Oh, so much better than Lukian. Lukian all out of sorts. Probably because his front left is pretty dead compared to Hurricane's now. The gap just around about half a second. Lukian slightly on the gravel there, and now Hurricane's gained another 10th and a half. Ooh, I think he was a little bit out of shape there, so was Lukian. And Auto's actually going to close in on both of them after a very dodgy final sector for both of the top guys. That's why Hurricane only set a 52 that lap, his slowest lap of the race. He might start getting impeded by Lukian. Lukian might only have... Well, I think this has to be a Zin lap, surely. I think if he does one more lap, he's going to get easily overtaken by Hurricane and Auto. It's a bit of a missed opportunity, I've got to say, for the Pegasus boys here. Because... yeah, the tyre wear shouldn't be this bad. I mean, Lukian very wide there. The overtake might happen before we know it. He's going to fence it into this hairpin. Hurricane's going to get a much better exit. There we go, there it is. Oh, Lukian didn't give him any space, but he wasn't really entitled to it. He didn't really get alongside. And now Auto's going to try and join the fun. We've got 3 drivers separated by 0.6 of a second in the battle for the lead at this stage. 3 completely different lines through that corner. It looks like Hurricane got a fantastic exit and Lukian really struggled. Now Hurricane's going to have to try and go around the outside into this hairpin. He's got the lead at the moment. He's going to be able to keep it. He backs out of it massively and allows Lukian to retake the lead of the race. And yeah, this is bad stuff for Lukian. He just doesn't have any speed left in his car. Hurricane's being incredibly cautious here. He doesn't want to get himself into an incident when he's got a race win on the cards. Yeah, just the difference in grip is absolutely insane. Lukian is surely coming into the pits now. No, he's carrying on. Hurricane's had enough of it though. He's coming into the pits. He's going to try one hell of an undercut, which I think will be successful as long as he doesn't come out in any traffic. Is he going to put in any fuel? That's the question. Yes, he is. How much? He's up into half again. Slightly more than half. So he's going to try and do a long stint on these medium tyres to get the medium tyres out of the way. He's just ahead of Parky Barky and Eroticos. So he's got a free pit stop on these two now. And he's got loads of free air to try and guarantee the undercut. Now, Autoration, meanwhile, at the front, is being held up by Lukian. He's the new driver to be struggling. Lukian really doing well to hold on to P1 with the tyres in the state that they are. But here comes Auto. I don't think he's going to have much of an answer to this one, and Auto is your new race leader. Auto electing to stay out slightly longer than Hurricane, and that is going to help him later in the race, but he might lose the net race lead when he comes into the pits. He doesn't have to come in for a little while. He's got plenty of life left on his soft tyres to start building a gap on Lukian. Lukian's got a 5.2 second lead on Max at the moment. Looks like there was a bit of a change for lead position a little bit further down. I can't quite see it. Looks like Eroticos has got past Parky Barky on his medium tyres. Still got a long way to go before Eroticos is going to need to come into the pits. He's still in the hunt for some really good points. I think a top 5 is still possible for Eroticos. Mortal hasn't come in for a pit stop, and he's all the way at the back. He's been in the wars. Meanwhile, Autoration has built a 2.5 second lead over Lukian already on this lap. Lukian is in punch territory. Let's see how he negotiates these final 2 corners. He's definitely left it too late. The gap to Max is almost at 3 seconds now, so he's lost a huge amount of time to Max. Max Good moves up into P2, Turbo Tony up into P3, and Pasty is in 4th now. Let's see what Hurricane can do. Hurricane is going to comfortably be ahead of Lukian. Lukian putting in more fuel than what Hurricane did, and he's going to be all the way down in potentially P9. No, Mortal's come in as well, so he's going to come out in P8 with plenty of air. I don't know why his windscreen wipers are on, but he's got 7.5 seconds down on Parky Barky. He's also got a full tank of fuel. Is he going to do a full tank on medium tyres? I don't think it's possible. So maybe a strategy error there from Pegasus. We'll have to wait and see. Hurricane's got 12 seconds on him at the moment. Still got plenty of clear air as well on the medium tyres. Meanwhile, Pasty's now in the top 4 for the first time in the race. Having a decent feature race so far. He's 1.2 behind Turbo Tony, who is 9/10 behind Max. We saw Turbo ahead of Max consistently a little bit earlier in the race, so Max has managed to get ahead of him, but hasn't been able to get away from him just yet. And then the gap between Max and Auto is a huge 7.4 seconds. Let's see, let's ride on board with Auto. He's still got plenty of fuel left. I don't think he needs to come into the pits just yet. We're only on lap 8 of 38, by the way, and almost everyone on the grid has already made their first pit stop. So that's the kind of race we've got today. One of strategy, falling behind, making undercuts, underfueling potentially. Auto carrying on again. So he's sacrificing a position to Hurricane for now to get the benefit later on in the race. Max and Turbo Boy are in the pits. Pasty also in the pits. That means Hurricane should come through. Let's see what his first flying lap on the mediums is like. Ooh, a 53. What did Eroticos do? Oh, come on. Also a 53. A little bit quicker than Hurricane, actually, Eroticos is. So Hurricane has to acclimatise to these soft tyres at some point. Lukian up into 4th now. He's still ahead of Max, only just. Max put in a quarter of a tank less fuel than Lukian. Lukian on the mediums, Max also on the mediums. They'll be trying to push each other along in this race. Passy down into 6th now after his pit stop. Turbo 20 down into 7th, the last spot in the points at the moment. Like it's a Project Platypus 1-2 at the moment in Lobby A. Or down to 6th. I think he might have made a pit stop. But anyway, back to this one. Eroticos, after his really rude spin earlier on, 17.5 seconds off the lead as it stands, lapping pretty well in the 53s. Getting rid of his medium tyres early on as well, so he's going to have a chance to do some good overtakes. He's got a 10-second lead on Lukian, who was leading the race previously as well. See any battles going on? Lukian is dropping Max a little bit actually in this stint. Pasty's struggling to keep up with them. Turbo Tony might be trying to catch up to Pasty now. Oh, Mortal has spun it. Oh dear. There's always one V2 driver who just can't stop spinning. It's not Eroticos, it's not Autoration, sorry, in this race though. His times have started to fall off a little bit, but he's still got plenty of tyres left. He's got a 15-second lead over Hurricane. He's probably going to lose that P1, I would imagine. He's gonna put in a lot of fuel, but it depends if he goes back on a softs again or if he tries to do a medium stint for his second one. I think if I was him, I'd go onto the softs and try and keep this advantage and hope that everyone behind starts scrapping a bit more. Yeah, Auto still within a second after 2 sectors though. 2 real tyre heavy sectors as well. Maybe he's it may have taken him, I don't know, a couple of months, but he's finally got his head around this Alfa Romeo after being completely done with it after a couple of those races that we had. Really smooth around the right-hander. This, let me guess, 1.2 down. 1.9 down. Woo, okay, I'm wrong. Is Auto going to have enough fuel? Look how little fuel he's got left. Let's stick with him and see, because that could be huge. Hurricane is starting to close the gap quite quickly now that Auto's on his last lap of life on these tyres. They're really struggling. Potentially stayed out a lap too long. And it looks like he's on 0% now. He's still going. And he is just about to make it. He does make it with 0% left. Cutting it very fine, or he would probably argue cutting it to perfection. So let's see, Hurricane is going to take the lead of the race. Looks like Eroticos might have another lap in him at least. He is carrying on. So Eroticos is going to be up into P2. 42% fuel put in Autoration's tank. That puts him just behind Eroticos, only 3.8 seconds away from the lead at the moment as well. That was a really good stint by Autoration. He's got fresher tyres than Hurricane for this entire stint. He's got pretty low fuel to start off with as well, and he's only 3.9 off the back of Hurricane, despite staying out so much longer. I think that might be a little bit of a missed opportunity for Hurricane to have maybe a 6 or 7 second lead on Auto. Maybe struggle to get up to speed on the medium tyres a little bit. Let's see if Auto could do the same. He's sticking within the 3.9, so he's lapping identically to Hurricane. It's like Eroticos is lapping pretty similar as well. What about Lucian? He's 7.9 back, but quite importantly for him, I don't know if he's going to go incredibly long on these mediums, but he's not going to have to refuel. Pasty goes off track there. Is that an opportunity for Max to get him? Pasty's going slow. He's gone wide at that corner as well. And round the outside goes Max. Pasty's going to have some good traction on the exit. It's not over yet. Advantage Max here. There's almost a little bit of contact. They had to avoid each other, and Max gets that position fairly comfortably. Is Pasty going to be able to come back into the hairpin? You might want that position back. Not at the moment. So Pasty's also got past Turbo Tony at some point as well. Alright, let's go back to the front, because we've got Hurricane isn't in a rush to come into the pits just yet. Eroticos finally comes into the pits, so that brings Auto back into second. Really keen to see what Eroticos does. I'm expecting less than 50%, or maybe slightly more than 50%, soft tyres until the end of the race for every pit stop that he does from now on. So he's dropping out of the top 6. He's going to have some nice... Well, actually, he's going to be pretty close to Turbo and everyone. Turbo was the man who he made contact with at the beginning of the race, and he's already pretty much caught back up to him. Around about 60% fuel in the tank there as well. So one more stop on the cards for Eroticos after this one. another recovery drive in store. Turbo's still behind Pasty, Pasty's still behind Max, and then there's a bit of a gap. Lukian all on his own in P3 now. Then we got a 4.7 second gap to Hurricane from Auto. So Auto's dropped about 8 tenths, and he's going to have to start trying to reel in Hurricane now over this stint, because he's got the pace advantage to be able to do it. He really wants to be on Hurricane's tail at the minimum by the time Hurricane comes into the pits at the end of this stint. Hurricane is going to have to come in slightly earlier than Auto, so he should get another undercut, which again should favour Auto, apart from losing a bit of time initially at the pit phase. Right, we've got quite an exciting battle here between 3 different teams. Got Pegasus ahead of Falcon, ahead of Project Racing United. Max on the mediums, as is Pasty and Turbo Tony. So pretty much everyone on the medium tyres now, apart from Eroticos. Yeah, Eroticos is the highest driver on the softs. 22.6 off the back of Hurricane at the moment. And he should be able to start flying now, essentially. He's going to join this battle at the front fairly soon. Let's ride on board with Pasty. He looks like he is starting to cause Max a few problems. Bit careful into turn 1. Gets a better exit, that's for sure. He's going to be able to drag race Max all the way up the hill. He's got slipstream as well. Max defending the inside of the next corner. Pasty around the outside, and Max is going to keep that position now, but Pasty might want to chuck it in. Instead he goes around the outside, trying a bit of a switchback on the exit of this corner, and he's going to have a better exit as well. Pasty really looking quick at the moment. Yeah, a bit of late braking there from Pasty. Goes a little bit deep, gives Max some breathing space there, much needed for him. They're both starting to drop Turbo Tony behind at the moment. Turbo might have a bit of a problem coming up, because the fastest man on the track absolutely is Eroticos. 2.7 is the gap at the moment. Let's see how that shrinks in this right-hander. Well, actually, he took it a little bit too gingerly. He did cut 2 tenths off. It should have been more than that. He is now almost a second up on his previous best time. This is his first hot lap on the soft tyres. Eroticos could easily have P4 at the end of this stint if he plays his cards right. But he's struggling a little bit to get up to speed on these softs. Unless he's driving carefully. That's also an option. Let's go back up to the front, because Pasty seems to be much stronger in the second half of the lap than Max is. He's again right on the back of him as we enter lap 14 of 38. Still not even halfway through yet, lads. 19 will be the halfway point. Is he feeling brave? He's a little bit too far back to try the dive bomb. That is a great corner to do late braking move though. Max again slow on the throttle. The GTR isn't good out of low speed corners, and I'm wondering if that is why Pasty is looking so racy out of some of these. Yeah, again, Pasty struggling with that corner in particular for 2 laps in a row. That's allowing Turbo to start to close the gap on Pasty. So Max is the cork in the bottle here. What about Eroticos? He's 21.5 seconds off the back of Hurricane's time, off the back of Hurricane, the leader at the moment. 1.9 off the back of Turbo. So he is closing in, slowly but surely, onto this group of cars. Quite a good corner actually. He went way too deep, but actually will have minimized his time loss pretty well there. That was a bad corner though. What about Turbo? Turbo, Pasti really closes the gap on Max in this final couple of corners here. He needs to get a great exit. It's too wide on the exit. If he'd have nailed the apex, he could have got alongside Max before turn 1, but it's not going to happen this time. Turbo a little bit out of shape as well. Here we go, come on. He's been lining him up for so many laps and not been able to get a move. He needs to stay in the slipstream and just send it into this next corner. He's thinking about it and he backs out of it. Now he's going to get a better exit again compared to Max, and it's still not going to be enough to get alongside in this corner either. So he's going to have to back off a little bit and try and get a good exit into this hairpin, which he's really struggled with Pasti in the last couple of laps. And is he going to nail the apex for the first time? He is, and that's going to allow him to finally get alongside. All it took was nailing that one corner, and they're still side by side. Pasti's got the inside line for the corner. It's very close between these boys. Turbo Tony's going to try and get in on the action as well. Pasti keeps in front of Max. And that should be game and set, not match, for Pasti on this stint anyway. Pasti is at the head of this field. Erotico's less than 1.5 seconds behind this group now. He is catching incredibly quickly, and he's got some fresh tyres on that Renault as well to use. Oh dear, Pasti's completely lost it there on the exit, went way too deep again. Max is going to try and go around the outside. Pasti nearly squeezes him off track, and they all stay on. Here comes Turbo as well. It's going to end to tears, I could just tell. Downhill braking point. Max on the inside keeps the position on Turbo. Turbo's going to have to slot in behind. And now Eroticos is in, joining the fun as well. So it's as you were, no one able to make any overtakes in that last section of the track. Turbo thinking about a late move on Max. Max leaves the door wide open. Turbo takes it. So all of a sudden Max down 2 positions, and it might be 3 because Eroticos is looking very racy at this stage. Utilising that 7th gear. Is he going to chuck it down the inside? Looks like Max might be thinking about chucking it down the inside. Everyone thinking about it. No one actually doing it. Now, Eroticos with a better exit, but stays really far to the right. Is he going to chuck it down the inside? Max doesn't give him enough space to do that. And yeah. Oh, Turbo 20 and Max nearly losing it on the exit there, taking every centimetre possible on the rumble strips. Now Pasti is starting to get away from these guys as well. Starting to see some daylight for Pasti. Enjoys this track quite clearly. Oh, Eroticos on the inside. Is he going to send it? He can't. He's going to have to continue to be patient behind Max. I think an opportunity is going to come fairly soon though to get that position. Whoa. Actually slows it down in time. Hurricane still P1, Auto still P2, and Lucian still in 3rd as well. We'll have a little check on them just after this lap's finished, because I want to see if Eroticos can close the gap in these final corners. Oh, look at that. It has to go a little bit wide because he's worried about hitting Max. And it's not going to happen into turn 1. So at the moment, Hurricane's got a 3.3 second lead on Auto, and Auto's got a 9 second lead on Lucian. Hurricane's last lap at 52.6, 3/10 slower than Auto, and Lucian's actually slower than both of them at the moment. Pasti 52.6 as well, one of the quickest guys on the track. And here comes Eroticos. He's going to have to try and do it around the outside. Max a little bit deep into the corner. I'm not quite sure what that line was for Max. A little bit out of shape when he was braking offline there. Now Eroticos with a move around the outside. Is he going to make it stick? They're still side by side, but he's got the inside line for the next corner. If he manages to pull this off, this is a great bit of overtaking from Eroticos. And he has made it stick. He's left Max in the dust, and now next in Eroticos' targets is Turbo Tony. Still 22 seconds off the back of Hurricane, so he's lapping as quick as Hurricane, despite being stuck in traffic and taking corners like that. That was not a good corner. But yeah, he's leaving Max in the dust now. Max really struggling in this phase on these medium tyres. I think he'll want to get off them fairly soon, but he's got a lot more fuel. Actually, yeah, he does have a lot more fuel. As Turbo Tony's starting to put more pressure on Pasty now, so Pasty's starting to make some mistakes at the head of this field. He was dropping everyone pretty quickly. Turbo now, oh, Hurricane in the pits. For his second stop, he's going to put the softs back on. Autoration takes lead of the race. Let's see how much fuel he's going to put in. I'm assuming around about the 50% mark again. Yep, just above 50%, so I think he's going to make another pit stop before the end of the race. He's back out in third position, 6.3 behind Lukian after his second stop. Lukian's still got a long way to go, actually. Again, his fuel's going to run out before, not his fuel, his tyres are going to run out before his fuel does. Autoration almost out of fuel himself on this medium stint. Completely out of road as well, manages to save it. But yeah, not the best line. I think maybe he only lost a second through that. Probably dirtied up his tyres if he's taking corners like that as well. So, bad time for Auto to be making mistakes there. He's going to have to pit at the end of this lap, I'm pretty sure, to put back on the softs. He'd got the gap to Hurricane to 3.3 last time that I checked. And he's really, really struggling for no reason, because he's got plenty of life in those tyres. Hurricane at the head of big group of cars here, actually managed to get out ahead of Pasty, which is pretty important. Pasty on more worn tyres than him. Hurricane got plenty of clear air to keep that gap to Autoration down. He's 14 seconds down at the moment. Really needs to be nailing this outlap, because I think we're about to see Autoration come into the pits now. Solid second stint for Auto, always in the 52s, just dipping into the 53s on the last lap, and this lap as well. He'll be a little bit slower than that. Into the pits he goes. What's Lukian going to do? Carries on and takes lead of the race once again. And then we got Hurricane and Pasty. Auto might be really regretting that those dodgy 2 laps at the end of his stint, because he's going to get overtaken by this huge gaggle of cars. Even Max might get him, so let's see what happens. Max is through, and there's not much time in between Hurricane and Autoration at the moment, but there are 4 cars to overtake. So Auto out on the softs, 1.4 behind Max, has a lot of work to do. What about Eroticos? Eroticos in P5 at the moment, only 1 second behind Turbo Tony. Still, well, around about 50% one on the front right, which is only a little bit worse than Turbo Tony's mediums. So advantage still is very much with Auto in this little battle. And this is working out incredibly well for Hurricane. Getting out in front of all these guys is absolutely massive. Turbo really dodgy on the exit there. This should be an easy overtaking position for Eroticos. Turbo just giving up on that one. Eroticos now making his own mistake, allowing Turbo to potentially get back in the hunt here. Eroticos should comfortably take this corner and start to gap Turbo with the tyre difference, even with the dodgy lines. So Eroticos up into P4 now, doing very well. He'd be potentially leading the race without that spin. Only 9.5 seconds off the lead at the moment. And what about Auto? Auto's 1.2 behind Max. Max's tyres are starting to approach maybe 40% worn. Lukian in for his second stop now. He's getting off the mediums, and let's see, is he gonna put any fuel in? He is putting in a little bit, splash and dash potentially. Oh, he's putting in a lot. What? This is a completely different strategy from Lukian. He's gone back up to 100%. Okay. That puts him at the back of the field. Looks like Auto and Max have just had a little incident. So that is Auto Ration completely out of contention for the race win because he's, yeah, dropped a lot of time. He wasn't too far behind Turbo Tony. Turbo and Eroticos have a great opportunity here with those two taking themselves out of the action. We've actually got Lukian out on his fresh mediums. Is he, oh, Auto Ration getting an overtake done on Max, who's got damage. Let's watch on board from Lukian's, because I'm not quite sure what's going on between these two. They're making contact again. Auto is definitely letting him keep the position by the looks of things. Now in comes Lukian, going to take that position quite abruptly off Auto Ration. Auto completely losing his head a little bit at the moment. Down to P7. Yeah, that's unfortunate for V2 driver. I thought he might have been in with definitely a podium. But yeah, good news for Pegasus with Lukian getting that position. Now Lukian's going to get that position on Max as well with some coordinated team effort. And Auto Ration's going to say thank you very much. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to try and take that position back off you, Lukian, as well. Side by side, it's this hairpin. Very difficult to go side by side. They both make the corner. Lukian goes a little bit deep. The side by sides are still. Lukian's going to win this one. For now, Max struggling to keep up with them even though they're going side by side through multiple corners as well. So I think Max's tyres are completely shot. Auto really has the pace on Lukian here. He's got the soft tyres and they're very fresh. So to find himself behind Lukian here is a bit of a disaster for his strategy. Rotico's in the pits again. He's still got a quarter of a tank left. To see how much fuel he puts in. Going to drop behind everyone again, but he did go very long. It looks like he's fueling up to the end now. He's out in P7. He's got a nice 10-second cushion, so he's not going to get himself into any bother as he gets his tyres up to speed. Parky and Mortal really struggling. I'm not surprised the Dodge is struggling. Here we go, Lukian off track on the exit here. Auto's going to try the long way around. We saw Eroticos manage it. Oh, Auto's going to try the cutback instead. I think if he'd have kept it around the outside, he might have found a little bit more success there. Lukian power sliding through that corner. It's not the quickest way to do it. He's about to be punished by Auto now. Auto could easily just stick his car on the inside. Lukian going incredibly defensive. There's enough space for Auto to put his car there. He's not feeling confident enough to do it at the moment. Are they going to go side by side down this next corner again? So these two fighting is pretty big for everyone else who's trying to get on the podium. That includes Pasty, that includes Turbo, that includes Eroticos. Even Max isn't dropping too far behind them. What's going on towards the front? Pasty not coming into the pits just yet. What about Turbo? Turbo's dropped to 3.6 off the back of Pasty now. He's still carrying on. He's got loads of fuel left as well. Lukian's got enough to make the end of the race and then some by the looks of it. And Auto is going to try his hardest to get this position back at some point. He's got the overspeed. He needs to just be brave on the brakes here. Hit the apex. He has hit the apex. Great overtake in the end for Auto, but he's got, well, he's lost at least 10 seconds, maybe 12, maybe 13 seconds on Hurricane with the incident that he got himself involved in with Max. Lukian chucking it in the inside. The door gets shut, which Auto is completely entitled to do that. Struggling on the exit is Lukian. Lukian just needs to try and stick it with Auto until his soft tyres start to go off, because the pendulum will swing back in Lukian's favour at some point. So it looks like we might be seeing an Aero GT win for the second week in a row in Lobby B. Prime Call last week, who's in Lobby A this time round. Hurricane this week. You have some drivers that are just experts, inexplicably, at certain tracks. Hurricane seems to be incredibly quick around Alsace. compared to how he is at other tracks, and really putting in a fine display here. He's got Pasti 5.3 behind. Pasti's surely coming into the pits this lap though as well. Turbo's tyres are starting to go off, but there's no real need for him to come in unless for strategy. So let's stick with Pasti for a little bit. I'm expecting him to drop behind Rotikos when he comes out of the pits and have a lot more hard work to do once again. So through goes Turbo, around comes Autoration as well. Lukian has dropped 2 seconds behind Auto already. Max, is he coming in? He's going to do one more lap, and then here, actually, Pasti puts in a very small amount of fuel to keep ahead of Max, and that's very crucial because he's got a 3.9 gap to Lukian, which I think he'll be able to start trimming it down because he's on very fresh soft tyres with quite low fuel as well. Max is going to try and give him a hard time though. Max doesn't want Pasti to be able to catch his teammate. Max comfortably getting ahead there. Pasti's going to try and outbrake him, and he does so and gets that position back beautifully. So Pasti staving off the probably one and only attack Max is going to have on Pasti, as he got a better exit out of turn 1 compared to Pasti out of the pits. So yeah, good news for Pasti. Erotico's 7.2 off the back of Max. So he's gonna definitely, yeah, I think he could get top 5. Could get top 5. We'll have to wait and see. We've got some people who are going to make another pit stop, like Pasti, who's just come out the pits. We've got some people who are going to try and go all the way to the end too, which I think Lukian's going to try and do. So really difficult to know what's going to happen with the tyres at this stage. It's all going to come to a head in the last couple of laps, I reckon, like it usually does. Auto now 15 seconds off the back of Hurricane. Closing the gap, 51.8 for Auto compared to a 52.4 for Hurricane on that previous lap, and a 53.9 for Turbo on these very worn mediums. Is he going to come in yet? No, he's carrying on once again. So Auto, let's see what kind of lap time he's going to set this time around. 51.8, 52.1, still pretty quick. Half a second quicker than Hurricane. Max finally in the pits. He's going to drop pretty low down. Well, he's going to drop down to 7th, that's for sure. So Erotico's got that one position back. Erotico's going to the end on medium tyres as well. It's difficult to know how this is going to end. Really difficult to predict this one. Nice tidy corner. Not troubling the apex too much though, but still fairly tidy. Not like that one. Jesus. Give someone else a bit of attention. We've got Pasti trying to chase down Lukian at the moment. He's got the gap down to 2.6 seconds. 20 seconds off of the lead at the moment. He was pretty close to Hurricane before. Hurricane on a bit of a different strategy. Seems to be a great strategy to be fair. 4/10 up on his previous best time. The gap's... Wow, Lukian looked a little bit deep there. The gap's less than 2 seconds now. I think he gained 6/10 in that one corner. Fantastic corner there for Pasti. Oh no! Lukian is in the wall. Easy position there for Pasti. Let's hope that no one's coming. Actually, no one's coming. Lukian gets to rejoin in 5th place. He's got damage on his front and rear bumpers. And yeah, unfortunately not going to see a battle between Pasti and Lukian. Lukian making a complete unforced error there. Turbo 20 in for what I assume is going to be his final stop. He's got 25% fuel left, so he's not going to have to put so much fuel in compared to the other guys, as long as he's calculated it. Let's see if he has. If he goes to 100%, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, he did calculate it. Fantastic. He's going to come out just behind Lukian, who's been in the wars. So he's got a great chance of finishing in the top 4 here. Lukian has slightly worn tyres, slightly more fuel to push than Turbo Tony, but we know that he definitely overfueled when he came in to the pits. So yeah, I think Turbo might be able to catch him here. which would be a great result for Turbo if he manages to get P4. Pasti with a solid P3 at the moment. 19 seconds off the back of Hurricane, so he is closing down on him. Auto Ration is down to 16 seconds off the back of Hurricane as well. Lapping in the 52s. Similar to Hurricane, Pasti lapping in the 51s, low 51s as well. He's going to have the tyre advantage on Auto, and he's actually closing the gap fairly quickly as well, down to 2.6 seconds now. So Auto will be sweating a little bit. Just for reference, Hurricane is a Tier 3 driver on Mondays. Auto is having a season off. He won Tier 4 last season. He would have been put in Tier 2 if he raced this season. He's coming back next season on Mondays as well. Pasti is in Tier 3. Eroticos down in P6 is Tier 2. And Mortal, who's struggling in that Viper, is also in Tier 2. Doing pretty well as well, Mortal. None of these guys are race winners this season, in eSports or in Monday League. So there's a lot on the line, especially for Hurricane, who's must be sweating at the moment with the cushion that he's got. The gap between Pasti and Auto currently 2.3 seconds. The previous lap for Pasti was at 51.6, which is almost 2 seconds quicker than Auto. And if he carries that on for another lap, he'll be overtaking him pretty soon. We've got 12 laps to go still. Auto's going to be coming into the pits. Hurricane is going to be making another pit stop. Pasti's going to be making another pit stop. Lucian, I don't think is going to make another pit stop, but now is 27 seconds off the lead. It's quite massive. But the gap to Auto Ration is a lot lower than that. So potentially could still get a podium. Same for Eroticos, could still potentially get a podium, lapping in the 52s. Looks like he did a 2-minute 1 at one point. I don't know what happened there. I don't think that was a pit lap, was it? The laps 20 and 21 must have been the pit laps. I don't know. Give him benefit of the doubt. I don't know. Max is going to run to the end on these medium tyres as well, so he's got 47-second deficit to P1. Make that around about 30 to P2. So he's still got a chance of getting a decent result. We'll have to wait and see. These guys who come out of the pits are going to have such a tyre advantage though. Lucian is on, well, he's going to struggle the most at the end of the race, that's for sure, on these mediums, unless he does pit stop just for soft tyres. I think that's what I would be doing. Oh no! Here comes Turbo to get that position, surely. No, he's back on track, he doesn't have any damage either. He manages to keep that position just. He's starting to struggle in this phase of the race. Had some great speed, and this is the same corner that he span on the previous lap, and he's just out of shape again there. Just put on the softs for the rest of the race. That would be my advice. You'll have a nicer time. Get rid of him. No, he's carrying on. Eroticos now, the gap between him and Lucian, less than 6 seconds. So Eroticos definitely sniffing top 5 here. Very, very possible for him. What's going on towards the front? Pasti now half a second behind Auto Ration. What's the current standings? As it stands, Cabar are in the top 5 and Pegasus aren't. I think by quite a comfortable margin as well. Pasti really tucking himself in behind Auto. This is V2 versus Falcon. Not seen many Falcon drivers in Lobby B so far this season. Pasti giving a good account of himself in Lobby B. Auto ending his V2 career in ALR on a high in P2. Wonder where Auto will be off to next year. Last season he was with Panthera. They quit. This season he's with V2 and they quit. He's the angel of death. So yeah, he'll be asking you to join your team. And something will happen if you accept him, because you'll end up quitting next season. Yeah, Pasti's doing really well. Oh, just as I said that, he's off track, but not, well, he'll have some dirty tyres. Auto's got to come into the pits this time around, surely. One last pit stop, 11 laps to push towards the end. Oh, nearly gets it all wrong. on that final corner. He goes on again. This is going to be a bad lap for Otto. Absolutely. Pasty's got a great chance here. Let's ride on board with him. He's going to have so much overspeed on Otto through these corners. He's got to take advantage. He could even do some spectacular overtaking here around the outside of a long corner, such as his tyre advantage if he chooses to. What he doesn't want to do is waste any time behind Otto, because we're still waiting to see what happens with strategy at the end of the race. To be honest, if I was Pasty, I would pit at the same time as Otto, because I don't have to put in as much fuel as him, just get the undercut done in the pit straight away, and then carry on for the rest of the race ahead of him. Oh, that was very lucky that there wasn't a huge accident there. Pasty gets the position, Otto hits the barrier on the entry to the corner, loses that position, actually has given himself a bit of damage as well. Staying out that extra lap definitely was the wrong decision for Otto. Pasty up into P2. This would be, I think maybe he got a podium in Lobby B last season, I can't remember. But yeah, this would be his best finish if he manages to keep hold of P2. Hurricane and Pasty actually teammates in Tier 3 this season, and now they're P1 and P2 in eSports. Not been able to do that in the Gen X so far this season. Not really a calendar suited for the Gen X, to be fair. What's Hurricane up to? Hurricane is in the pits, so 10 laps of fuel for the end of the race for the Lambo. Lovely little livery on it as well. So Pasty coming round is going to take the lead of the race. Otto is coming into the pits. He might be, I don't know if he is giving himself a bit of, oh, here we go. Comes out right in front of Pasty. Timed that perfectly once again, did Hurricane. Comes out of the pits right in front of anyone he was battling against. Pasty's going to try and get the better exit out of turn 1 to get the position on Hurricane. Hurricane going defensive around the left-hander, this little kink here, but now Pasty's in front in the braking zone. Hurricane on mediums as well for the rest of the race, so Pasty gets that position fairly comfortably. Hurricane's going to try and get the switchback, gets alongside before we head around the long sweeping left-hander here, and that should be enough for Pasty to keep the position, but Hurricane's sticking really close behind, only 0.2 of a second behind as we head into the hairpin. And he keeps that position, keeps P1 for now. Pasty's got maybe a couple of laps before he has to come into the pits as well. Turbo Tony isn't going to have to pit again. He's worked his way back up into the top 3 as he goes wide on the exit of the hairpin. I wonder if that's going to be a penalty. I don't think it is. Then Eroticos worked his way back into the top 4 here. He's 4.8 ahead of his teammate also Ration. So a huge recovery drive here from Eroticos. Again, not going to have to pit again, ahead of Otto, who has damage in the wars. He's still ahead of Lukian, but all that advantage that he built over Lukian, who's come in for another set of mediums for the rest of the race. Back out in P6, going to have to try and retake Otto Ration. Otto on a fresh set of softs himself, and Max in P7. Everyone's coming out still ahead of him, unfortunately for him. So he will be getting a single point. And then outside the points, it's looking pretty obvious. Parky Barky struggling massively here. Mortal in the last of the positions. Pasty in the pits now. One of the last people to make his pit stop. Not going to have to put as much fuel in as the other guys. He's trying to get a podium position. He was battling Eroticos for a little while in the previous stint, so will he be anywhere near him as he comes out of the pits? Eroticos coming round the outside into turn 1, there he is. Eroticos going to have a great exit out of turn 1 to try and get this position. He really needs to make sure he gets ahead of Pasty at the hairpin coming up if he's going to keep that position. Looks like Pasty got a great exit despite coming out of the pit lane, and might keep this position. Pasty on the softs, Eroticos on the mediums, and Eroticos trying to send it, can't really do anything about it. Pasty braking nice and late, still hitting the apex beautifully. Keeps P3 as he's trying to get his soft tyres back into temperature so that he can start charging down Turbo Tony for that P2 again. 16 seconds off the lead as well. Pasty, I'm expecting to be the quickest driver on the track for the rest of the race. Good strategy for Pasty, it's worked out pretty well for him. Good strategy for Turbo as well. Kind of has been up and down for the entire race, but he's popped himself up into P2 just as 11 seconds off the back of Hurricane where it counted. Still 1.5 off. What's Pasty up to? Is he on a quickest lap? Well, this is his out lap, so I don't think we know. Is it his out lap? Yeah, it is his out lap. God. Every stream I have a short-term memory issue, as Eroticos has a exiting the corner issue there. Let's Pasty get to 1.8 ahead. Now Auto's going to be trying to catch his teammate on these fresh softs towards the end of the race. I think he probably will be able to, as long as he keeps out of the wars. Yellow flag for somebody. Oh. Who is it? Someone at the back? It's Mortal again. I thought it was one of the front guys, and yeah, Mortal just getting out of the way of everybody. There's his teammate putting a lap on him. Here we go. So Hurricane's still maintaining an 11.4 second lead on Turbo. He's lapping in the 52s at the moment. Turbo's lapping in the 53s. Pasty, I'm assuming, will be in the 51s. It's still a Project Platypus 1-2 with 7 laps to go in Lobby A. God, they love 1-2s this season. So any chance of any overtakes before the end of the race? I think the closest battles that we've got are, well, actually the battle for P2 is actually gonna start coming together in the next 7 laps, because Turbo Tony on slightly worn mediums, fresh softs and Pasty just behind, fairly worn mediums for Eroticos. Then we got Auto on fresh softs, Max on, oh no, Max is a little bit too far behind to be in this battle, so all eyes on Auto, who's got 2 seconds to catch on Eroticos. He's got a huge tyre advantage at the moment, so should be reeling him in at least a second a lap at this point. Maybe 2, I would say. But yeah, Eroticos driving really well actually. We'd have to shave about 10 seconds off his finishing time to take away what happened in lap 1, and if you took 10 seconds off his finishing time, he'd be a comfortable P2 behind Hurricane right now. Just have to see if that ends up in the stewards. If I was him, I'd be pretty annoyed at that, to be fair. It's 1 second off his quickest time, Auto, on these soft tyres. Still not really closing the gap on Eroticos. Eroticos driving pretty well here. Pasty is now 1.5 behind Turbo Tony on his fresh soft, so I think he might catch Tony before Auto catches his teammate. This is the spicy one. As you know, Project Racing United are 7th out of 8 drivers. They're trying to consolidate that. They've only got 2 drivers tonight, but one of them's 2nd right now in Lobby B, and the other one is competing in Lobby A. I have a feeling he might be 14th. I can't see that low down. So the gap under a second for the first time in quite a while. I'm expecting it to close by at least 3/10 around this corner, if Pasty takes it correctly. A little bit hesitant on the throttle, he gains 1/10, it might end up being 2 by the time that we brake for the next corner. Lovely braking by both of them. Made the corner nice and smoothly there. Now the gap is 7/10 of a second. Ooh, bit dodgy there from Pasty, nearly hit the barrier on the inside, loses 3/4 instantly. Got quite a big gap to Auto, to Eroticos behind. Now final couple of corners should favour Pasty, and he's going to get back to round about a second. What about Eroticos? Eroticos has given the place up to Auto, so there was some team tactics there, definitely wasn't any battling going on in that overtake. He got a huge lead over Max, and Lukian down in P7 now. Only on course to get a single point. This is not been a good day for Pegasus. They're going to get 3 points as it stands, unless something happens. This is going to be a bad final attempt at getting into the top 5 for the rest of the season. I think Pegasus have some thinking to do in the off-season. They've got 2 teams here. They've got an A team and a B team. Some of the B team drivers looked a lot quicker than some of the A team drivers at points. I mean, for example, both B team drivers today doing much better than the A team drivers. So it's going to potentially be some difficult decisions made at Pegasus over who's going to race in what team next season. Passy only 8 tenths back on Turbo now. Yeah, much better corner there for Pasty. Gap down to half a second. He's got 5 laps to do it. 13.9 seconds off the back of Hurricane at the moment. Hurricane is on medium tyres, so he is going to be slower than Pasty at this phase. Turbo a little bit on the grass. And threads it through the final corner. This is a great opportunity for Pasty to get the overtake done. Let's see if he's going to be brave into turn 1. Looks like he's going to tuck up behind Turbo Tony. Turbo's going to keep the position for now. Wide entry to try and get a better exit for Pasty, because we've got a long run down to the next braking zone. Turbo keeps the position for now, and yeah, nothing Pasty could do. Turbo Tony is defending. Excuse me. Turbo's defending incredibly well here. This is definitely his strongest esports race to date. So signing out his season in style, that's for sure. Pasty trying to find the ideal place to get an overtake done. Hasn't managed to do it yet. This next corner is another one where you could just send it. There's so many corners here where you could send it if you just decide to. If you pull it off, it ends up being a great overtake, and if you don't, you probably get a 10-second penalty though. So this is unfortunate for Pasty. He's been stuck behind Turbo Tony, which means he hasn't been able to really eat in at Hurricane's lead and put any pressure on Hurricane whatsoever, which I think he'd have been able to do if Turbo Tony's car wasn't in the way, and he's just not done well at all at trying to get an overtake done here. Got 4 laps left. Let's do a little tyre check actually on everyone. Hurricane has absolutely no tyre issues. 4 laps of Turbo on these mediums should not be a problem at all. Pasty's already approaching 50%. He's going to be struggling at the end of the race. So podium isn't out of the question. Well, actually Auto's going to be struggling as well. But potentially for Eroticos, he's been overtaken by his teammate. We're gonna be at the crossover period where the mediums start to be stronger than the softs of Autos and of Pasties by the end of this lap or the next lap. So yeah, not over yet for Eroticos. Potentially, he just needs to keep his head down. But yeah, at the moment, Pasty just all over the back of Turbo. Still can't find his way past. What he needed to be doing was getting past Turbo Tony quickly, building up enough of a gap so that when his softs start to go off, he's not really under threat. But what is instead happening, he's probably using a little bit too much of his soft tyres, trying to follow Turbo around and try to find different lines to get an advantage out of certain corners instead of just driving normally, I suppose. So yeah, really unfortunate final stint so far for Pasty, but he's got some magic in him, I'm sure. Gap is 6 seconds to Auto actually, so maybe Auto even is a little bit too far back. Auto's tyres are worse than Pasty's as well. Came in earlier than Pasty did. He stopped gapping Eroticos, that's for sure. Yeah, Pasty's now losing time to Hurricane for the first time in this stint. He's dropped to 15.5 seconds back. He's actually not really that close to Turbo anymore either. I wonder if he's just giving him a bit of space to start looking after these tyres. So Pasty's dropped to 1.3 behind Turbo Tony now. Turbo with a 52.5. It's pretty quick actually for this stint. That's his quickest lap on the stint. Pasty at 53.7 for no particular reason as well. So I think it's just the tyres are starting to go off. 52.2, 53.3, 53.7, just consistently getting slower now. Started the stint with a 51.4 as well, so you just get basically one single good lap out of the soft tyres, so that they just start to get towards the medium pace. So yeah, it's looking pretty good for Project Racing United. This would be 10 points on the board for Turbo Tony, a huge contribution to his team. Got Auto just half a second up on Eroticos now. Eroticos going to get this position back fairly quickly, unless they start to battle and sacrifice the the last couple of points V2 will be scoring. So yeah, things are just settling down a little bit now. Let's see, what is Mortal up to? He's 40 seconds back on Parky Barky, multiple laps down on people. There's Parky Barky about to get lapped himself. Lucian is going to be in line for the final point. He's was doing so well, leading for a while. Down to P7 now. Max was doing well as well. He's dropped down at P6 all on his own. Eroticos, after that, yeah, after being in the wars, worked his way back up into P5. I think he can be pretty proud with his result. Auto also beat in the wars, but more self-inflicted. Oh no, I thought there was a change in lead. Still 7.2 behind Pasty. Pasty still hanging in there, but Turbo definitely has the tyre advantage now. He's starting to get away from Pasty. Pasty in the red is, well, actually Hurricane's in the red as well. I think everyone is going to make the end on this fuel, especially the bad. Oh, Mortal, no, not again. He's coming into the pits. Go on. Right, 14.9 second lead for Hurricane. This is just as dominant as what we saw last week with Prime Call for Aero GT. Completely in a class of his own. He was challenged at various points because of strategy, but actually he chose the perfect one. He's going to come out of this if he finishes the next lap and a half with his tyres still glued to the track. Very dominant victory. 12 points for Aero GT, which is a pretty solid outcome. Eight points Pasty will be scoring for Falcon, which is still pretty solid. I think he could be pretty pleased with his day's work. Is this actually his first podium of the season? If we include Mondays, I think it is. Oh, here we go. Here comes Eroticos, trying to get a move done on his teammate. Auto goes a bit deep. Really difficult commentating these two with their names. Just so easy to get them confused. Anyway, Auto's doing the job at the moment, but he's got another lap to go. He's going to get a puncture. I can guarantee he's going to get a puncture on this final lap. His tyres are looking bad. They are looking worn. Eroticos has plenty of life left in his tyres, but he's about to spin it and gives Auto a lifeline as we enter into the final lap of the race. Let's have a quick tyre check. Pasty's tyres are not as bad as Auto's, so he's going to get away with it, a solid P3. Anyone else struggling on tyres? No, everyone else's tyres are looking pretty good here. Hurricane's finally above the 15-second mark. Actually, it drops just below it as soon as I say that, so never mind. Turbo's driving away. 53.4 for Turbo compared with 55 that last lap for Pasty. Really struggling. Auto, let's see this gap. should reduce pretty quickly. Not here, just the next couple of right-handers. I think Auto should really be struggling to take them with how his tyres are worn. Here we go, huge amount of time on the entry of that corner was eaten up by Rotikos. We'll stick on with these until this next right-hander, which should be incredibly painful for Auto. He's still driving pretty well, actually. Still driving pretty well. Let's see though, that's rough. That's rough. That's 8/10 that he's dropped in that single corner, but Rotikos made that mistake earlier. Anyway, let's ride on board with Hurricane, give him his moment of glory, because this is going to be his very first ever win in esports. First win of the season as well for Hurricane. Fantastic result for him in that Lamborghini. Completely unstoppable there. 15.5 seconds at least, it looks like his lead's going to be. Turbo Tony, best result in esports as well. A podium for him. You should be really proud with it. The points haul that he scored for PRU tonight. And Pasty as well, might be the second podium in esports. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Great result there. Auto and Erotikos going across the line to finish V2's career. Line instead, Erotikos just pipping Auto there. Then we've got Max really struggling around the final corner. He's going to take a P6, the highest Pegasus driver. Unfortunately, is scoring 2 points there. We got 1 point for Lukian as well. He's going to be the last driver apart from Mortal, who's going to finish in 9th. Question of what could have been for Lukian. I think he could have won this race, that's for sure. Maybe a different strategy was needed. He kind of started making mistakes as the race wore on, and Mortal looks like, I don't know how he was coming out of that part of the track. There's just a barrier there. There we go, some donuts at the end by Mortal. Well, are they? Let's see. Come on. Where are the donuts? There we go. There we go. Go on. No points for Mortal, unfortunately, but a nice little donut show at the very end. How long is he going to be able to do this before he gets timed out? That's the question. There we go. And there you go. That is it. Fantastic results for everyone. There is your winner, Hurricane. Fastest lap goes to Auto Ration, so he gets a bonus point for that. Good clutch of points for Aero tonight. I think this confirms that it is Pegasus, it is Project Racing United, and it is V2 that we're saying goodbye to today. And there's Mortal 1 lap down. But yeah, thanks for watching me. Next week I will be joining Pyro on stream, and we're going to be co-commentating the single lobby. I'm quite excited to see what happens towards the end of the season. So yeah, join me then. Thanks for